All right. We are here. Oh, I forgot to tell you in the green room, I make my own sound effects. Okay. I am my own Dougie Fresh. I'm the girl version. I just don't beatbox. I just have other sound.
Are you Dougie? Teach me how to Dougie.
I'll teach you how to
Oh,
Dougie.
okay, because I was gonna break it out, but I was like, I ain't.
Yes. Well, everybody, welcome to the Dumping Ground. We are super excited to be back on this Tuesday. Super excited. I always want to start off by thanking each and every person who connects with us, who shares, follow our YouTube channel. Please do. Thank you. Please. This helps our content reach other business owners and helps us continue to build our algorithm to make us bigger and better. Because if you Google the Dumping Ground podcast, you will see we out here in these streets. All our episodes are archived. So if you don't catch the replay on our YouTube channel, you're a podcaster, you're like, you know what, Nikisha, I'm a podcaster, right? You can always check us out on all the podcast outlets, Spotify, Apple, Google Play, all those things. We are out here. Yes. And also, like our amazing friend says, Plows, we do have drip for sale. Yeah, we still do got drip, right? We got amazing drip. We got to keep them coins, keep the stream of income coming. So you need to get your drip on too, merchandising your stuff. Business owners, make sure you put your name, your logo out there. This is your marketing. Market your stuff. So this is what I'm doing, marketing my stuff. Amazing. So today, our vision, our goal in 2021, sorry. 2023, we have a quote, and our quote is it's from Jonathan Swift. And for some reason, I don't know why my computer, this is his technology. Our vision, the quote for 2023, let's start over, right? Is vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to others. Deep, right?
It's deep.
Vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to others. So that's a deep quote that we need to ponder on every day. What is your vision? What do you have for yourself? If God give you another 24 hours of life, what are you doing with those 24 hours? What are you doing with them? Are you just existing? Are you thriving? Are you surviving? Which one of these are you in at the moment? My hope and my prayer is that you are thriving. You're making a difference everywhere you go. You're making it happen, Captain, right? We are also talking about celebrate your wins. Celebrate your wins. And we have an amazing guest, Tanya Turner. And it's amazing. Hold on. You know what? I just thought about that. You started your career at Turner's Communication, like the company, and your last name Turner. Like, is that destiny?
Well, of course, if I owned the company, it would have been. But I did have the last name. I always loved it because I always had the swag with my last name on it. So yeah, I feel that way.
Oh, nice. I like that. So we are talking about celebrating our wins. We're gonna start about that. Just start, and then we'll give it. So first, let's start off with the intro. Okay. Do you want me to introduce you, or do you want to introduce yourself?
You can go ahead and introduce me if you don't mind, please, and thank you for respectfully. Yes, please and thank you.
Please and thank you. Like, girl, I want you to introduce me. Okay. I always ask because some people be like, you know what, Nikisha, I can do it. I can tell you all the great things about myself. Okay. So Tanya Turner, right?
Yes.
She loves human resources. It's just amazing to me, right? She acquired depth in human resources, experience, and knowledge while at Time Warner, previously known as Turner Broadcasting System, Inc., right? All right. She is amazing, right? She also have her own podcast. She started in last year, right?
Last year.
Yes. And your podcast is called, so this is what we do at the Baptist church. You do call to respond. So I should have told you. I should have told you that. That's how I roll. But I'm not going to do you like that. Your podcast is called, wait a minute. I just had it. Oh my gosh. What is going on?
The
The
page
the
turner.
page turner. Ooh.
Yes, the page turner, like my last name. Love it.
Yes. So how do you come up with that? The page turner. Okay, so hold on. You you have amazing accolades. You are part of the National Association of African American and Human Resources. That's a lot of acronyms.
It is.
NAAHR. Woo! I get confused. And then you are also a member of the HRMA at the Gwinnett Chamber of Commerce.
Mhm.
Ooh, you are stumping with the big dogs. That's what Martin says.
Love the Gwinnett Chamber of Commerce. Yes.
You also have some major you like yoga. Yoga.
Yes.
Okay.
Namaste.
I'm sorry. Yoga. And I love and talking to you, I can see your amazing faith. I'm honored. I know I'm playing, but I truly wanted to tell you I'm thankful for this opportunity for you coming to the dumping ground, blessing us with your amazing expertise with HR and bringing the side of HR that we don't understand. As you know, I work in corporate America. We don't understand the all that goes into that industry, all the burden that you guys carry. You know, we just think when a problem arrives, we just run to HR. We don't understand all the other duties and stuff that you guys have to carry and be held responsible for. So first of all, I want to say salute for that because I know that is a burden to be able to manage
Mhm.
people in that capacity, you know. So I want to say thank you for serving in HR and being able to stump with the big dogs and show your presence as diverse because you said in your bio you was like you're very diverse, and I think that's pretty important,
Mhm.
especially in the world that we're in now. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank
Welcome to
you.
the show, Tanya
Thank
Turner.
you so much for having me. I appreciate that warm and charismatic
I'm
introduction.
sorry.
Love it.
It's never gonna be normal.
It's all good. You don't have to be. We don't have to be scripted. It's all good.
Yes, so I'm just grateful that you were here, and I'm excited that you were selected by our role manager. We ain't gonna call no name because I'm sure he is on in the comments. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Nate Todd. We know you here, Nathan. Great, great. He's our role manager. He wants to be. He's everybody's manager. And no, for real, I want to give his kudos to Nate. Is a cool dude, and he makes sure that we are very taken care of, and he makes sure we get great people because he's very network oriented as well. So thanks, Nate. You got that little 30 seconds, you know, that's it. All right. So let's talk about your career. Let's talk about all these years that you have poured into the HR human resource industry. Like all the different jobs that you had being in that industry. What pulled you to that industry? What is it like the love of people? What gave you the urge to be like, this is something I want to do?
Well, initially, when I first got out of school, coming from Ohio, I really wanted to be an anchor on the news. Go figure, right? And because I wasn't really half the person that I am today, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just not having the confidence, maybe not a mentor or a sponsor. I ended up coming to Atlanta at the time and doing an internship at Channel 5. And I just kind of realized it's like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. But see, you never know like what the plans God has for you. So I leveraged a lot of my communication skills because I have my degree in journalism. And I ended up in a customer service realm. And so it was just one day I was like, you know what? I want to have a career and not a job. And so I just simply applied for an open HR position. And my first role in human resources was working in the staffing industry. Need I say any more than that? So it was just a lot of the drug testing, commentary, it just gave me like this baptism by fire into human resources. So I can't really say that that was like my career trajectory. It's just I just ended up as such. And unbeknownst to a lot of people, I am completely introverted, but I'm extroverted in my job. And so I'm able to be most effective. And so I just leverage that personality of being approachable, trusted, a consultant, a safe space for other people to talk. And it just kind of grew from there. It's just been an amazing growth. And remember, I have to say it for the people in the back, HR is not for the faint hearted.
Listen, I know it's not. So that's why I said it takes a special person to be able to do that job. My mentor Shelly, she's affiliated and a part of that industry, and I know the weight they carry for that job. It's not easy. It's like entrepreneurship. It ain't for the weak. It takes a strong person that has those type of skills and care for people to really make it effective, right? So,
Yes.
but I can see you pivot back. I can see you on TV, sis. I can see your face, your pretty smile with your glasses. I'm gonna have to. We on the chat because those are nice glasses.
I love these glasses.
Those glasses.
What they do is they are like a business card. They
Oh,
they
yes.
say something before I even say something in the room.
Yes, they said something when
Be
you.
thoughtful and
Yes,
intelligent.
yes. When you came in, I was like, "Oh, I want them." We don't talk about that. Those are some dope glasses. Okay, sorry.
Thank you.
So I can see you on TV. I can actually see you. Sorry, I'm starting to prophesy. I can see you doing something with television. You have that Bekuswa. You have something about you. You have something about like you. It's pretty fly, man. It's pretty fly. So I can see you well polished. I can see you on TV doing some kind of segment or something like that and stuff like that. So, because you have a degree in journalism, right? And did you ever work at CNN?
I worked at CNN. So I was at CNN for 12 years. So I actually did not support like the anchors, but I got to see the Robin Meads, the Don Lemons of the world, all of the stars. It was by far like the best job that I had in terms of learning and just being in the proper environment. So I feel like I didn't go into the journalism, but it somehow God put me in that environment. So I learned a lot. Got a lot out of it.
That's good. So can you see yourself going back in TV? Is that something like you can see yourself doing for yourself?
Yes, you know what? I actually wrote down because I write everything down. That I actually
that's an HR thing.
Yeah, this right here, my little cheat sheet. This is something that I just use. And one of the things that I have is one of my goals because you always should be dreaming about something. If you're not dreaming, you're not living. Because see, I'm not trying to I'm trying to not survive. I'm trying to
thriving, baby. We thriving.
Exactly. And so on my goals, I promise you, it says number one to be the keynote speaker at my Ohio University. I don't know what it's going to be about, but I put that down. I want to be a keynote speaker there. And then I also had that I would love to be a talk show host or host a famous show or do a segment on a show that I am comfortable talking about. And I don't even know what that is, but I wrote that down as 2023 goals because I feel like if you are wanting to achieve something, you have to write it down and you have to read it often because it's a constant reminder of so you don't go fraudulent on yourself. So you're not telling yourself like I did many moons ago when I was showing up in that news environment, 22, 23, and people were older than me, more mature than me, had more experience, and I felt like I was a fish out of water. And now, if you had given me that opportunity today, it would be no problem. But back then, when you're still growing and evolving and you're trying to get roots and you're trying to find yourself and all you need is somebody just to bet on you, I didn't really have that in that environment. So I wish I didn't exit so quickly and allowed it to mature. But that was then, and this is now, and it's still good. I'm still on the right path.
You are on the right path, and I see it. Like literally, I can see you doing something with the news. I can see in a segment, like you really like. I can see you just having a good time, having an audience, and all that stuff. I can see it. So it's amazing how that's so that's an HR thing that you write down. Because
Everything. Yeah.
when we were talking in the green room, I just saw your little pen like.
Yeah, I was writing down what you were saying. Existing, thriving, and surviving.
Yes. I was like, oh, she definitely in HR. She writes stuff back because see, you ain't gonna come back and say, I didn't say that and this or that. I got the time, date.
The time, date, the people, and the stamp. Yeah.
Absolutely. I
Mhm.
love it. I love it.
Absolutely.
So tell me this. So what would you tell a college student who's trying to figure out if HR or the new journalism or the news anchor wanted to be in those industry? What would you encourage them at this moment, all from all the wisdom that you've gained and all this stuff? What would you tell that young person?
Yeah, so I'm going to take it a step back and
Mhm.
change it from just the HR piece
Yes.
to just really kind of because I didn't know. So I
Mhm.
think that the first thing that I would tell somebody who's graduating from college is to know yourself first. And I know that that's still a discovery process because even with my daughter, her being 26, you're still discovering who you are. And so when you're trying to determine like what you want to do from a career perspective, it's really just having a board of directors to steer you in that place. Because I remember when I first got into HR, Makisha, and all it took was one person that really believed in me. And so I am a byproduct of her pouring into like an empty glass. Not that I was an empty person. So let's just
Oh,
make it
oh,
clear.
oh,
I
oh,
had
oh.
potential.
Oh, honey, I see you did.
And so she poured into this glass and she didn't just pour into it every once in a while. It was intentional and it was consistent. And so one of the things that I would tell somebody is to believe in yourself, work on your confidence. And then I feel like when you are operating in your gifting and figure out what those things that you do relatively well, even when you have people, when I first started writing in journalism, I remember the teachers, and I'm not saying I'm always perfecting my craft when it comes relative to how I write and my audience. But I remember that there were teachers that were at the school that where I was trying to secure my journalism degree that told me oftentimes that my writing was not good enough. And if I had just believed what they said about me, I would have stayed in that place. And sometimes we take those mishaps and how people assign labels onto us into the workspaces. So I took some of those labels with me as I was moving to Atlanta, saying, I'm still unsure. I'm really kind of like you said, I'm existing, I'm
Mhm.
surviving. I want to have a job. I wasn't thinking about what does a career actually mean. And so as I'm mentoring individuals, I do introspection work. That's why I have this, because this is almost like my alignment of a SWOT analysis. So I'm always checking myself before I wreck myself. So I'm always making sure that I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing. And so I tell them the same thing. First, figure out who you are, and then nobody else can tell you anything different. And go for what you believe and not let people tell you what they think or put you in a box of what you could do. Because if I had had what I got when I was 30 in my 20s, I know that I would be further along, but I don't look at it from a delay. I just feel like it was a redirection for me and a focus. And so I came right back to the center, although I had to go around a couple of times. So I feel like knowing yourself is so key. And when you're going into the workspace, and then determining what you're good at, because I didn't realize I would be good in human resources until I actually started doing it.
Wow. So you would tell them to believe in yourself. And I
So,
think, and this is what I was talking about last week. We had a licensed therapist on the show. and we were talking about your words and having
Mhm.
allowing people to speak words over you, and you have to make sure it's the right people that's assigned to you to speak word. Like you were saying, some of your professors or something said your stuff wasn't good enough. So if you would have dwelled on that, it would have made you, it probably stung, but you had to bet on yourself
Mhm.
and dig in to say, no, I'm. It may not be good enough for you, but I know who I am, and I think that comes with learning who you are, and that's that going around the circle and then finding that center. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a lot. I know even when myself growing up, a lot of teachers said a lot of things about. Because think about, I grew up in the '80s and we didn't have the testings and different things that we have now. We had old school teachers and all that stuff, and they'd be like, "Well, she needs this special help and this special help," but that's because they didn't take the time to properly. Maybe I had ADHD. They didn't know, right? And and instead of taking the time to really dig in to help and figure out, wait, maybe she just learned a little different from the next person. You know what I'm saying? And maybe if I spend a little bit more time with them or her, she'll catch on. But instead, they didn't do that. They will say, "You ain't gonna never," like basically, like you ain't gonna achieve, or you ain't gonna,
Right.
you ain't gonna learn this, or you ain't gonna be great. You know what I'm saying? Like I can literally remember teachers saying, like you're never gonna be good in writing. Like that's my number one fear right now. Like I remember my English teacher saying, "You're never gonna be good in writing. You need to learn how to conjugate your verbs and stuff like that." And I'm just like, I didn't get it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not dumb, but I just learned different, and it's just those words, and you have to silence those words, because if not, you'll start believing the lie. You start believing, and sad to say, it's the people that's in power over you. Like I'm not gonna tell my teacher she's a liar at that kid because I'm a kid. You know what I'm saying? It's so some of those were even like I remember people, my friends' parents speaking death over their kids. Like we have to be careful
True.
of the words that we say, because there's life and death in your tongue. You know what I'm saying? So it's so very important to speak. Like if you don't have nothing else to say, just don't say nothing.
Yeah, I think that you bring up a good point because I read a lot and I've been reading this book called Disruptive Thinking by T.D. Jakes. And it's a powerful thing to hear him actually reading his book out loud. But he was talking a little bit about the power of people's words and how we as individuals, we have to jump fences. And I was just like, what is he talking about? Jumping fences, the fences that we keep ourselves in, the labels that people assign us. And so he talked a little bit about Makisha, about when he first started preaching, that of course he grew up poor. So he had that fence of
Mhm.
insecurity.
Yes.
And he started preaching and he talked about this suit that he had. And he only had one suit at the time when he was married to his wife, Sarita, and he would have her wash that suit over and over and over again. He had holes in his shoes, but with the suit, the inside of the lining was completely gone. And he always remembered how people used to call him in the news or when he was being talked about in the media, one suit Jake. And he said, even though now he has thousands of suits, as we see, his whole style has changed. But he has
Absolutely.
thousands of suits, but he said those fences are still in his mind, even though he's talked to millions of people, that he still has those fences, that he's still that poor little boy in West Virginia growing up, not having a lot. And he said he has to fight those labels that he has in his mind. So even people, we think that rich people or people who are CEOs of the company, president of the United States, that they don't have concerns or nobody ever spoke ill will over them. But even in the times when I was in school and my professors spoke those things over me, did it make me angry? Yes, it did. Did it make me feel less than? Yes, it did. Because I was still a young woman trying to find my way, and I needed for you to be a light. But then I had to realize that I am the light. And so
Absolutely.
when they said those things to me, I was like, I'm going to do better, not for
Yes.
them, but
Yes.
for myself. So
Yep.
I'm going to continue to perfect my craft.
Mhm.
And I'm not I don't feel like everything is perfect, but it's better than good. It's almost
Absolutely.
great. And so
Honey,
it's
and
my
that's your thing. Say hashtag better me,
yes,
better me.
hashtag better me. That is what I'm aspiring to be, is a better me. And just like you had said earlier, I'm not competing against anybody else. I
Mhm.
think early in our careers, when you think about human resources, people are always in competition. So when you sit in this seat of HR, you get to see the ugly side of that.
Yeah.
And it is concerning. But
Mhm.
that's when people start competing with other people, is because you don't know yourself
Oh yeah.
and what you bring to the table. So
Mhm.
for me, those are just some of the things. When people think about human resources, they think that it's the green mile. It's so much more than that. It's supposed to be to make you hashtag better me. That's
Mhm.
that part about the human resources element.
Yep. So listen, your podcast,
Mhm.
what inspired what inspired you to do the page turner? Like what gave you like, is it the journalism in you or the anchor that you wanted to stir that them gifts again? What inspired that?
It was always in me.
Mm.
I didn't know how I wanted to do it. I was already doing it in my work, right? I was doing a lot of presentations. I was doing a lot of podcasts with other people. I'm even leading the industry in my access control industry, doing a lot of speaking engagements. It came out of the death of my dad. And so I hope my brother is on here, but I'm going to give my brother a shout out. It was the death of our father that
Mhm.
happened abruptly in 2022, early February. And so I was thinking to myself, as you go through loss like that, it changes you, it alters who you are, not in a bad way, but you start gaining perspective of what's important. Like having a career is important, but when somebody is at my funeral, I don't want them to say, well, you know, she was a good worker. You
Yeah.
know, she was a great HR professional. I want people to think of me as like, she was kind, she was there, she was a friend that I could depend on. She was consistently consistent. She had a good heart. You know, she ran her race. We know that she's on the streets of paved with gold in heaven, stuff like that. I wanted to be something
Mhm.
definitely like that. And so eventually what happened is it just came to me. I promise you, in a dream, I was like, how can I give a legacy to the Turner name? And it came like as clear as day, the page turner, because what I was really doing was turning the page in my life and saying to myself, I matter. I'm going to
Mhm.
be a better me. I'm not going to be making up excuses. I'm going to drink my water. I'm going to apologize. I'm going to be on my forgiveness game. And I'm going to turn my career upside down, which means I'm going to be cutting down the bamboo. I'm going to be the pioneer, even though sometimes, quite frankly, I don't want to,
Mhm.
or sometimes I may not have the capacity to do it. I asked the Heavenly Father to give me the strength to do it anyway. And so
Yeah.
when I came up with that name, I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I felt a little trepidation, but I was like, you have a journalism degree. All I want you to do is get out there and do it. So this book that I have, I got this somewhere at, what was it? Marshall's. And it says, oh, let me put it this way.
Ooh, I love
So you
that.
got to bloom, and she bloomed anyway, right? And
Oh,
so one of my sayings is to bloom where you're planted. So I'm just
yes.
going to use all of this HR
Yes.
knowledge, all
Yes.
of my lessons. I don't want to call them failures, all of my opportunities for development, all of my HR experience, all of my experiences being a single parent and going, relationships, everything, friendships. And I'm just going to pour it out into my podcast, and I'm just going to live out loud. And that's exactly what I did.
And you are doing it, and you are doing it, and you're doing it well. Like
Thank you.
that is so inspiring. Like that is an amazing story, and it touches me because, like we were talking in the green room, loss is different when you lose mom and dad. So for me, I lost mom and dad. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
like
Okay.
you have, at this point, it's like, what do I do now? And then on top of that, you lose a sibling who stepped in the place to be your mom. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother thing where you really have to look at life totally different, totally different. Like I like you said, changing, being a better me. I don't care about the accolades of people, what they, how they're saying, I want to be the, CEO of organization, all that stuff. Yeah, I want to be that. But the thing I want to do is make sure I impact my environment. I
Mhm.
want to make sure whoever God assigned to me, or wherever I go, wherever I'm supposed to evangelize, because I'm sorry, that's my calling, as you can tell.
Yes.
I want to make sure that I leave an impact of Jesus on their heart. Like that's my primary goal on my job. Everywhere I go, I want to make an impact, to leave an imprint. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So like all of the glitz and glam, yes, I need the money because ministry costs. It costs, right?
It's costly this day and
Yeah,
age. You don't need the
that's
coins.
that,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
let's not be all on the other
you
side
know what
now.
I'm
We
saying.
need the
You know
money.
what I'm saying? I ain't saying that, right?
Okay.
I need the funds to do what I need to do his will, right? And I know he's going to provide that. But in the meantime, I just want to be a good steward of what he's given me. Like you said, those lessons that you learn, your testimony, like you did not go through that test to be quiet, to be a fat cat. You know what I'm
I
saying?
like it.
You know what I'm saying? You went through that test because you don't know who is in your environment, who's in your inner circle, who is in, because us as women, we wear masks. We'll show up and we're dying on the inside. That.
I
But
do.
if because of your openness and your transparency and your authenticity can deliver someone else through your testimony. So what you're doing, you're on the right page. Turn
Yeah,
the
it's a
page.
lot, starting it too, Makisha, because I mean, you probably know this because you've had your podcast for many moons. And so starting it is, oh gosh, it was just like scary because I was like, who in the world wants to hear what I have to say? So it's been since November of last year. And so I started a goal of 100 people to listen to my podcast. And I was like, ooh, that is a stretch goal. And I wrote that down. I said, that is a stretch goal. And that was on the top of my list for 2023 is 100 listeners. And so today I've had 255 people who have listened to the podcast. And at first I started with 100 and I said, I'm going to do 200. And then I say, I'm going to have one more stretch goal, which is 50. So I've gone above and beyond the stretch goal. But what I had to do is, remember when I talked about what would you say to somebody who's graduating from school, is believing in yourself. And so it's scary terrain to enter something that, number one, you really don't know how it's going to be. But the only thing that you could do is just start it and just see where it lands. Tweak it, start it, change it, stop it, begin, get out there. Even if you don't like your voice, you don't like how it, just keep on keeping on and keep on doing it. And then don't forget the special ingredients, which is the recipe, is to be yourself. Like, don't try to be what somebody else is going to be. And I've gotten plenty of people who have said, you probably need to do it this way, or you probably need to do it that way. And something inside of me says, just keep doing it the way that you've been doing it. And then after a year, you can change it up. So I'm just glad that I started, because it's almost like I'm so super private that I am living out loud and I'm not afraid to tell other people about it.
That's good.
Yeah, it's just healing. It's almost therapeutic because
Absolutely.
it gave me a voice in a
Mhm.
space where, when our dad passed away, I felt so much grief and sadness
Yeah.
that it's almost like I'm paying homage to our dad,
Mhm.
where I'm
Mhm.
just like, you gone, but we're not gone. Your
Absolutely.
children are going to be an example that you
Absolutely.
were actually here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so
I love
it's
that, man.
definitely different.
Listen, I love that. So like for me, my podcast has been around for 3 years.
Okay.
Um, the story is it was supposed to start off as YouTube. But I was afraid. I had like remember I told you about people speaking words over you and labels, and you really thought those things through, and you had to really go face the giant. Like I had to literally go face those giants of those words of you're this, you're not this, and you're not that, or your speeches. Like I remember prom and my senior prom, and they used to always do like these little prank things. And like at the end of the night, they'll do like little for some reason I don't even know why the teachers let us do that. It's pretty bad. Like you'll crack jokes on people, right? And
Is it called I'm dating myself, Jonan?
oh yes, so that's it.
Mm.
So like, but you would get to go on stage and you can say this stuff like a roast, pretty much, right?
Oh wow.
And someone put my name and it was like Makisha talks with the lips, and like so like I like all of those words I felt like start to come back, all those voices like you're not good enough, you don't have a degree, why would you do this, who told you, you know, like all of those things that I had to battle, you know, like so I found the loophole. I was like, well, you know, maybe I won't do a YouTube channel, maybe I'll do radio, because guess what, I can hide some of those words that I was believing was true, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I do sound like I'm from New York, but guess what? I'm from Mississippi. I don't know where it comes from, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But I had to come to terms to love me where I'm at, and what they said is not who I am. And I literally had a Moses moment. Like I had a Moses moment at the burning bush. Like God was like, I want you. But I'm like, no. Take my, how about you get such and such, because they speak more eloquently. You know, Moses stuttered, right? Moses had a speech impediment. He stuttered when he speak. So for me, I was like, no, that can't be me. You know, like, are you sure? Me? Of all people? You know what I'm saying? So I had to battle all of that and come to term like, yep, God has chose you. He can pluck you out the flower bouquet using you, all of your flaws, everything in your life. He don't waste anything. He use maneuver. He wastes nothing. So it took me, but it took me 3 years to get to a point. I didn't like my face. I thought it was just, I mean, just, I didn't like pictures. I didn't like videos. And I literally had to overcome all of that in 3 years. I launched my YouTube channel February the 4th. So I finally was like, okay, God, I'm ready.
That's my mother's birthday.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
So I finally came to the point. It's like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm tired of running. I mean, the loopholes are good. You know, I'm still serving. I'm still helping, but I'm ready to be obedient now. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not 100% obedient, you're in disobedience. Let's just keep it the book. You know what I'm saying? But in my mind,
yes,
I was still obedient, but I was still not walking in the fullness of what he really had for me. You know,
I think that that's a great thing too, is that you realize that you had at some given point in time,
I had to
we
give
have
in.
to face the giant, which is our insecurities, because
Mhm.
guess what? We all have them.
Yep.
And we have to face the things that make us afraid, that make us sick to our stomach,
Mhm.
because God is going to give us exactly what we need. Because initially, when I first got into HR, Makisha, I, coming from journalism, I did all the news, but we were in a very kept environment where it wasn't like you were in on an anchor on Champ 5. It was just a very safe space to make a mistake. And then when I got into HR, the person who was like my mentor, she was like, yeah, you're going to start doing presentations and orientation every week. And I was like, not me. I just started. Like, I'm supposed to be like the curtains on the wall. You know, I'm good with taking these notes. Like, just let me just fade to the background. Let me rev up first. Let me rev the engine up first. Let me spin the block a couple.
Spin a couple blocks.
But she was like, no, we don't have anybody to do it. And even if we did have somebody to do it, that's what I hired you to do. Did you not read the job description? Is the math not mathing for you? And then at the end of the day, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. Didn't know the history of the company, started studying it. Did not know that the class was going to be like 25 to 50 people. Could you imagine? People all around you and you in the center of the room, and you talking about the history of Turner Broadcasting and how they used to call it CNN, the Chicken Noodle Network, and you just spilling off stuff and you just talking, and people just like mesmerized, just looking at you, and you just like, I hope that I don't have no spinach in my teeth. I
Yes,
hope that my slip is not showing, because back then we was still and I hope I'm not looking crazy. And that's when I realized, I was like, credibility. It's something about figuring out what you are gifted at, and it makes you still nervous to do it.
Yes.
But you know that you do it relatively well. And she would sit in on the orientation, and I'm like, oh my God, like, not only are you asking me to do it, you're in here being the teacher's aide and watching as well, and critiquing. And it's just like I got better and better and better at it. And then I found out it was something that I really enjoy doing. So hence my journalism roots show back up in the midst of me taking a leap of faith, just like what you did, is getting in front of the camera, not worrying about what's replaying these self-blaming scripts in your head about what people said about you, and just operating in your gifting. And like you said, it's being obedient, because God put his super on your natural.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it all works out when it's supposed to.
Absolutely. So listen, I'm so excited for the page turner. Yes. I'm excited to even be on there to talk to you. We are so excited. And also, you know what? I just saw Shelly is going to be doing some training for your team. Now, that's going I saw that. I was like,
yeah, so
that's gonna be dope.
It's going to be nice. Now, you got to give me your email, because if you're able to join tomorrow at 2:00, you can feel
because that was gonna be my next question, because
I want you to attend.
Yeah, because I saw the post on social media, and I told her I'm gonna show up. Then I went and looked. I was like, I'm gonna show up. I'll see.
It's not open to the public. Yes,
I was gonna ping her after this and be like, I think I told the fib. I don't know how I'm gonna be on there.
No, you are more than welcome to come. So one of the things that I've done at my current company is started a business resource group for women, because there's not a lot of women in the industry. And so when I started that, I was like, okay, now you just really biting off the sandwich, just really strong. Like you just taking on too much. But what I realize is that it takes a village for development. So we are focused on development. There are women from all walks of life, from all generations. We're reading emotional intelligence. And so Shelly was on my podcast, and I was on hers a couple of times. And so I was wondering if she would come and talk about identity, purpose, belonging, branding yourself, because what I'm starting to find out, like sitting in the seat that I'm sitting in, is that we as women, we don't want to promote ourselves. Like, I read this book about how women rise, and it had all these 12 habits of what women do to sabotage their career. And one of the things that I said for 2023 is that I wasn't going to ruminate. And what is ruminate? And I was like, let me look that up, because I'm a word person. I'm a word connoisseur. So I was like, what is ruminate? And it means the self-blaming script, going over and over and over, like we were talking about just now, blaming yourself, saying you're not good enough, playing the scripts in your head that sabotage your career for you to have a career, and you remain in a job because somebody's telling you something. And so it's like you're chewing the cud. And sometimes what they were saying is that goats kind of regurgitate the cud, and then they digest it. And so what I said for myself this year is that I was going to continue to be #better me, but to live out loud and not to ruminate. So if I made a mistake or I didn't handle it right, get on your grown woman business, apologize, forgive, move on, learn the lesson, but do not shrink. Because sometimes what we as women, we try to fade to the background, i.e. when I was trying to do the orientation and she was in there doing the teacher aid stuff, I was like, not me, not she. She's not giving. I don't want to do it. You do it. I don't want to do it. So, at the end of the day, what I'm having to do by being in this leadership role, what people don't realize is that I am operating outside my anatomy. Every single day. I am showing up vulnerable. I am in places where people will criticize, say the things that they say, treat me less than because I am a woman. And then when I have to reintroduce myself into the conversation, you're not going to like it. But I'm going to let you know that I am here on purpose. And so with that space, what I'm trying to let other women know is the things that we're very well talking about today. Don't be fraudulent on yourself.
Yeah.
Be a lighthouse in a dark place.
Yes. Yeah.
Be Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Absolutely.
Moses. Don't try to be Aaron. Be Moses.
Girl. Yeah.
Show up in these
Yes.
spaces because you're supposed to be there, and then we're
Yes.
supposed to save seats for others.
Absolutely.
So seat for you, sis.
Yay!
Conversation, and I hope that you will be able to infuse some commentary in there for women who, number one, they may sometimes not be there with their cameras on. That's a confidence thing, right?
Yes.
Because it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I don't want my camera on, or I'm working and listening, but you can still have your camera on.
Yes. Yes.
And it's just really just being #BetterMe. So even with my LinkedIn post, at first I was like, I'm not gonna be broadcasting all this. This looks like I'm just bragging, and I'm just no.
Yes.
It's not.
And you got the right one, Shelly, to talk about belonging, identity. Oh my God. That young lady, because she's young. That's my youngest. I'm speaking that because she got a long way to go. She's gonna bring some words, and that's gonna really fire them up. Like she has power. She carries something that's so magical that's gonna transform that room of those women, and they will be engaged because she has something. Belonging, identity. Those are her footprint. Like that's her identity that she carries. And she's my mentor, so I can brag on her, you know what I'm saying? So
everybody needs a mentor.
She gets a slide in because she helps me become a better me. She keeps me accountable. She strives to make me better, you know what I'm saying? So I'm blessed to have her in my life. And I let her go out and go out to the world, but she come back to me.
It's a beautiful thing to have a person that you can trust to help you to be a better person. So many people don't want to ask, but I'm just happy that she said, yes, we'll talk about these things, and it is just going to be a beautiful conversation. So I look forward to it. And so you're more than welcome to come.
Yes, please send it to me. I definitely want to be there to support you and Shelly. And like I said, it's all about us making sure, like you said, we have to make our presence known and to support each other endeavors and different things, and know that we're always here in the dumping ground for you, the page turner. You are always welcome to come and connect and chat. We always do a 9 months check-in with business owners and podcasters to kind of see the growth, where they're at. And as I know, you are writing down your goals and stretching yourself, that's your faith walk, right? Because you can't see it, and it's so uncomfortable because that's faith.
It's very uncomfortable.
So, but I see you going some places, and I'm just grateful that we get a chance to connect, get a chance to see this play out. And I look forward to being on the show to just laugh and have a good time with you. So tell people where they can find your podcast, and we'll end the broadcast.
Yeah, so a couple of things. They can find my podcast on Spotify, and then also I've just been blogging a little bit under the HR Word Wizard. So my girlfriend who's attending right now, she actually said, you do a lot of things with words. And so it just came to me to do that. So just trying to have those combination of things together. But check me out on Spotify. Follow me on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram under my actual name, Tanya Turner 3. And I'm just looking forward to growing and continuing to learn. And I just appreciate you having me on your podcast today. And I look forward to building a partnership with you. So thank you again. I feel grateful and blessed.
And so I see in the back, you said words. I see in the back you have words. Are those your words you've written, or is that I see like,
You know what? I'm going to have to read this to you. I'm going to end this. But Mary Ann Williamson, it says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be? Brilliant, talented,
gorgeous, fabulous. Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. You playing it small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that others won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. So as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fears, and our presence automatically liberates others.
Girl, you are amazing. I am so excited again to really connect. It's truly amazing. I look forward to our check-in. I look forward to tomorrow, Thursday, right? Thursday. It's Thursday.
It's gonna be tomorrow. So I'll send you the invite as soon as you send me your work email.
Yeah.
I'll send it to
Yeah.
you tonight.
Awesome sauce. Well, this has been a super duper amazing episode. And I just pray many, many blessings over you and your podcast, and you stretching it. Go ahead and stretch it to another 100. Maybe go ahead and try to stretch it to 200. Because you didn't supersede those goals. So let's dig a little deeper in your faith. Let's do 200. And see and just watch God work as you continue to be your authentic self. You continue to be open and vulnerable and share your story and your testimonies. Watch how God used you to help other people around you in your community and in your circle of influence.
Thank you.
That's all I have for you. Mwah.
I'll talk to you soon.
It was great talking to you. Have an amazing night, and I will catch you later.
Later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.